Now turn up.
What's up, gorgeous people? This is Amber's DIY and other stuff. My name is Amber Meeks. Today is Let's Talk Tuesday, and on this video, I'm going to be sharing some more facts about autism. As you guys know, well, most of you know, April is Autism Awareness Month, so I've decided to dedicate all of my Let's Talk Tuesdays to help bring awareness to this disorder. So I wanted to close out my fourth and final video in this series for this month with some additional facts about autism. Some of the facts you guys have already heard, but I still want to go over them again because I feel that this is a very important thing that I want to make sure that everyone's aware of. I'm also going to share some of the positives that come with people who have this disorder. And of course, I'm going to share a little bit stories in between about things that have happened with my son and things like that. Now, I just want to make it very clear that I will continue to bring awareness to autism throughout the rest of the year, but it's just not going to be every single week as I've been doing this month. Okay, so I'm still going to give you guys updates. I'm still going to do some more videos about awareness for autism as I get new information, updates, all those kinds of things, okay? Because I think it's a very important thing to bring awareness to this disorder so that it brings us one step closer to having everybody accept what this disorder is and how to handle people who may have it. All right, guys, without further ado, let's jump into this video. Okay, guys, so like I said, I'm going to go ahead and share 30 facts about the autism spectrum disorder. Some of them I may have already covered in other videos, but I still feel that it's important that I cover these facts again from start to finish. You guys will hear additional facts that I have not already covered, but I really liked the way that they listed the facts on this website, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and go over it one more time. So these facts were based off of the patient education that they did in August 5th, 2019. So these are 30 facts to know about the autism spectrum disorder. So I'm going to start by reading this paragraph here that's at the very top. It says, though the term autism first appeared around 1911, very little was known or medically researched about autism spectrum disorder until the late 20th century. So new discoveries and advancements continue to be made today to help individuals on the spectrum achieve their full potential, which is very exciting. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and jump into these 30 facts about autism. So the first one is autism spectrum disorder now affects 1 in 68 children. Boys are nearly 5 times more likely than girls to be diagnosed with ASD. ASD is autism spectrum disorder, for those of you who don't know. Okay, so autism spectrum disorder is one of the fastest growing developmental disorders in the United States. ASD is more common than childhood cancer, diabetes, and AIDS combined. That's a heavy statistic there. So that was fact number 2, by the way. So we are on fact number 3. The term stems from the Greek word autos, meaning self. Autism literally means alone, which is really sad. I mean, that is very sad. I'm sure a lot of people on the autism spectrum feel that way, and that breaks my heart. I mean, that literally breaks my heart. I definitely don't want my son to ever feel like that. So number 4, autism spectrum disorder affects all nationalities, all creeds, all religions, all races, and both sexes. It doesn't differentiate or affect only one group or another. So anybody can be affected by this disorder. And number 5, in the late 1990s, the diagnostic title changed to reflect a more politically correct social environment. Now the proper expression is people with autism or autism spectrum disorder. So that's how you should be referring to it when you're talking about autism. So number 6, autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability that generally appears before the age of 3. So before the age of 3, you should be able to notice that your child is doing things a little bit differently than the average kid, and maybe you should have them checked. Now, that doesn't mean that they have autism or they're on the autism spectrum. It just means that maybe you should have that looked at. Okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional in this field, as I've said many times. But if you see something different, then you definitely want to bring that to your pediatrician's attention. Okay. All right, so number 7, the earlier autism spectrum disorder is diagnosed and treated, the better. Outcomes for children's lives are significantly improved with early diagnosis and treatment. Okay, guys, it's very important. So like I said, if you notice something different, then it doesn't hurt to discuss this information with your pediatrician just to have a look at it. It doesn't hurt. I would rather know and give my child the best life possible than just live in denial and pretend everything's fine when it's not. Okay. So, number 8, early behavior-based interventions have positive effects on some children with autism spectrum disorder and less noteworthy effects on other children. Early services need to be based on individual children's needs and learning styles. Services for adults with ASD must be carefully individualized. So in other words, guys, just like everybody in the entire world, we are all different. So everybody on the autism spectrum disorder is also different. So they're not going to receive the exact same treatment as the next person because their symptoms are either less severe, more severe, or just it's different for everybody. Okay, guys, that's all that means. I'm just going to try to put it that way. All right, so number 9, there is currently no medical detection or cure for autism spectrum disorder. So like they can go in and detect whether or not your child has Down syndrome before you have your baby, this is not something that they can detect for before you have your child. Okay, so number 10, parents do not and cannot cause autism spectrum disorder. Although the multiple causes of ASD are not known, it is known that parental behavior before, during, and after pregnancy does not cause ASD. So if you had a glass of wine or something like that, you didn't cause this to happen to your child is kind of what they're trying to say there, okay? All right, so number 11, individuals with autism spectrum disorder have communication deficits. It is important to distinguish between spoken language and social communication deficits. So they just have trouble communicating. I've gone over that several times in a lot of my videos. Autism spectrum disorder is not degenerative. Individuals with ASD can continuously improve. They are most likely to improve with specialized, individualized services and opportunities for supported inclusion. So that's why school is so important for my son, because exposing him to other kids and what they do will help him understand and communicate a little bit better. So that's why I really need to send my kid to school, even though it scares me to death. Okay. Number 13, being nonverbal at age 4 does not mean children with autism spectrum disorder will never speak. Research shows that most will learn to use words and nearly half will learn to speak fluently. So just because your child isn't communicating yet, do not freak out. There is still hope. Okay, so just continue whatever treatments that you're doing, and just continue to do that, and hopefully everything will come together for them. Okay, so number 14, children and adults with autism spectrum disorder often care deeply but lack the ability to spontaneously develop empathetic and socially connected typical behavior. Individuals with ASD often want to socially interact but lack the ability to spontaneously develop social interaction skills. So I'm going to stop for a second really quick, guys, because a lot of kids on the autism, or adults on the autism spectrum, it seems like when you're upset or something's happening in your life and you're just crying and all those kinds of things, that they don't respond. A lot of them do understand and know what's going on. They just don't know what they're supposed to do. Like, what's the proper thing? For us, we see somebody crying, we want to go over, we want to put our arm around them, console them, try to make them feel better. People on the autism spectrum don't always realize and or know that, if that makes sense. So let me tell you a story really quick about my son. I was really upset one day. I mean, I was pretty upset, and I was just sitting there, and I was just, I was crying, and I just had a lot going on at that time in my life. And my son, God bless him, again, they don't always know how to communicate, so they just do it in their own way. So he walked over to me, and he put his head on my shoulder, sat next to me, and he just went, "Sometimes in our lives." Yes, guys, he started singing "Lean on Me." God, it was the sweetest, most adorable thing I've ever seen. So, of course, I had to sing it with him, and it just brought me right out of whatever I was upset about. Because, I mean, how could you not, come out of being so upset when somebody does something so sweet and adorable? We watch that a lot on the Baby First channel, and they sing that song a lot, and he loves it. So he just associated that with trying to make somebody feel better, and I just thought it was really sweet. God, I love that kid. Okay, so number 15, autism spectrum disorder cost a family $60,000 a year on average. The cost of lifelong care can be reduced by 2/3 with early diagnosis and intervention. According to a recent study funded by Autism Speaks, the lifetime cost of autism is on average $1.4 million to $2.4 million. That's crazy, guys. I doubt I'll ever make that much in my lifetime. I would love to, but I don't know. We'll have to see. If one, number 16, if one identical twin has autism spectrum disorder, there is a 60 to 96% chance the other twin will have some form of ASD. Although fraternal twins have a lower chance of both having ASD, if one has an ASD diagnosis, the other has up to a 24% chance of having the same diagnosis. But again, it could be completely different, how do I say this? On completely different sides of the spectrum. That's what I want to say. So one might be severe, one might not be severe, or they might be both similar, but either way, they're not going to be exactly the same, if that makes sense. Okay. So number 17, comorbid medical conditions in autism spectrum disorder are common and may include allergies, asthma, epilepsy, digestive disorders, feeding disorders, sleeping disorders, sensory integration dysfunction, cognitive impairments, and other medical disorders. My son does have a lot of sleeping disorders. I'm up all hours of the night. A lot of you guys who I talk to, frequently are like, girl, you were up late. I'm like, yeah. I am on his schedule. I'm at the mercy of my son's schedule. So when he's up, I'm up, vice versa. So, okay, number 18. Up to a third of people with autism spectrum disorder also develop seizure disorders. The rate of seizures in people with ASD is 10 times higher than the general population. Okay, number 19, about 10% of children with autism spectrum disorder also have another genetic, neurological, or metabolic disorder. Number 20, each child with autism spectrum disorder is a unique individual. People with ASD differ as much from one another as do all people. Children and adults with ASD may speak or interact with others. They may have good eye contact. They may be verbal or nonverbal. They may be very bright, of average intelligence, or have cognitive deficits. So, like I said, guys, it could be everybody's different. Pretty much is what that's saying. Okay, number 21. Hyperlexia, the ability to read above one's age or grade level in school, commonly accompanies autism spectrum disorder. My son very much has that. He is already reading books and doing things like that most kids his age are not already doing. So, yeah, he definitely has that. Number 22, individuals with autism spectrum disorder may be very creative and find a passion and talent for music, theater, art, dance, and singing quite easily. Number 23, it is widely speculated that Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Andy Warhol, and Bill Gates are all on the autism spectrum. Guys, these are all very noteworthy, brilliant people who were most likely on the autism spectrum. And you know what, guys? One day I hope to see my son's name on that list. I'm just saying. Number 24, researchers hypothesize that symptoms of autism spectrum disorder in males and females may differ, leading many females to not be diagnosed in a timely manner. They have determined that it affects boys more than girls, so it's unfortunate for girls who are women or whoever on the autism spectrum, because they probably might be diagnosed later in life because it is just so common in boys, if that makes sense. Hopefully it did. Okay, number 25, gender differences in symptoms have been found within the areas of social understanding, social communication, and social imagination. Number 26, females with autism spectrum disorder remain an understudied group in research. We just went over that. Number 27, about 50,000 individuals with autism spectrum disorder will exit high school each year in the United States. Many services required by law end abruptly after high school. So us parents are just fending for ourselves after that point, which is very difficult. Number 28, 35% of young adults with autism spectrum disorder have not had a job or received postgraduate education after leaving high school. That's a tough one, guys. That's a pretty high percentage. Number 29, there is no federal requirement for providing supportive services in adulthood, which is unfortunate. This leaves many families navigating these types of services on their own. Number 30, many people with autism spectrum disorder are successfully living and working and contributing to the well-being of others in their local communities. This is most likely to happen when appropriate services are delivered during the child's educational years. Guys, it goes back to early intervention. This is why you have to pay attention. If you notice something different or you notice something that is just not normal with normal child growth, then that is definitely something that you need to discuss with your pediatrician. And if you both feel that your child needs to be tested, have them tested. And it's better to find out early because early intervention makes all the difference on how your child's life could end up. I'm just saying. So it's better to accept it and get the proper treatment to help your child be the best they possibly can be. Can't say how important that is. Okay, guys. So, I want to end on some positives here about autism. Let's find those for you guys first. I have everything saved on my iPad. Okay, that's not it. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. You would think I'd be more organized, but I guess I'm just not. Here they are. Okay, guys, so I have gone over several things that are difficult to maneuver and deal with on the day-to-day with this disorder, but there are a lot of positives that also come with this disorder, and I want to go over that right now. So the strengths and abilities in autism. Autistic people may display a range of strengths and abilities that can be directly related to their diagnosis, including learning to read at a very early age, known as hyperlexia. Yeah, that's definitely my son. He'd probably read better than I can. I should have him reading this to you. Just saying. All right, so memorizing and learning information quickly. Yes, he does that so often. I mean, you give this kid a book, he will memorize every single thing in the book by going over with you, asking you what that stuff is. Once you tell him, he is going to not only know what each and every single object is, he's going to know how to spell it and how to say it. He's really smart, guys. He's 3 years old. Okay, so thinking and learning in a visual way, logical thinking ability, may excel if able in academic areas such as science, engineering, and mathematics, as they are technical and logical subjects that do not heavily rely on social interaction. Having an extraordinary good memory, being able to remember facts for a long period of time, he definitely has that. Being precise and detail-oriented, exceptional honesty and relatability, being dependable in regards to schedules and routines, having an excellent sense of direction. They're very punctual, strong adherence to rules, able to concentrate for long periods of time when motivated, a drive for perfection and order, a capability for alternate problem solving, a rare freshness and sense of wonderment. So guys, there are a lot of positive things to being diagnosed with autism. So everything's not bad. There's a lot of great things that also come with it. And I just wanted to make sure that I recognize that for you guys. So another thing before I end this video, I wanted to let you guys know another thing that seems to have helped my son is the addition of our dog Bates. We decided that we wanted to get a larger dog. I've had little dachshunds all my life. The one that I have now is, I think he's approaching about 15 years old. The other two that I had were also dachshunds, and they passed away when they were, one was 17 and a half, one was almost 18 years old. So we thought, you know what, let's get a big dog just for the protection and the comfortability of having a nice big dog at the house. Wow, guys. My dog is a pit boxer mix. And when we adopted him from the Humane Society, and they told us that he had been in a home that had children. He was 4 years old when we got him. And man, the bond those two have is amazing. Bates has been a great addition to our family because he has been so great for my son. When my son is upset or when he's anxious or he just can't, get across what he wants to say, there's like something in the autism spectrum world that is called Zen. Like they'll find their Zen place. And he relaxes and becomes so much more comfortable when he's with my dog Bates. One time he was really upset. He couldn't get me to understand what he was saying, and he just got really frustrated. The first thing that he did is he went over and he laid with the dog, and it made him feel better. It calmed him down. Everything was fine after that. So this dog has been a great addition to our family. For my son especially, they've got a great bond. He's a very large dog. I mean, my dog's about 110 pounds, and my son's like looks so small next to him, but they have the greatest bond, and he was the greatest thing that I could do for my son. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every single person on the autism spectrum would do well if they had a dog as a therapy type thing, because that's not true. And honestly, that's not even why we got the dog. We got the dog so that we had a larger animal in the house that could help protect and things like that. And it just so happened that him and my son bonded so very well. It was perfect. It was a perfect match. And a lot of times I'll wake up, because my son sleeps with me every single night, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll look over and he has walked over and laid with the dog in the dog bed. He just feels a lot more comfortable, a lot safer or whatever with that dog, and it's definitely made a big difference. And I'm so happy that Bates is part of our family, because he's helping my son, the most important person in the world, as I told you guys several times. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video, and I just want to make sure that you guys, if you see something that someone who might be a little bit different in public, or maybe somebody in your life, maybe it's your niece, nephew, your grandchild, something like that, it doesn't hurt to mention that to the parents if it's somebody in your family or something like that, because if they're explaining their frustrations with their child and you're like, man, it sounds like maybe you should have them tested for autism, just bring up the suggestion. It's a very sensitive subject for a lot of people, but it's definitely something that needs to be brought to the forefront, because early intervention is so extremely important. No one wants to hear that there's anything wrong with their child, ever. No one wants to hear that. Nobody wants to accept it, and a lot of parents are in denial about it, and that's why a lot of these kids go undiagnosed, and then they have to try to maneuver their way through life, and it's so much harder than it should have been for a lot of them. So it's just really important, if you're out in public and you see somebody acting a little odd or a little different, just be accepting of who they are, no matter what their disorder is, whether it's autism or they're just socially awkward or whatever. Just be respectful of people, guys. Just be nice. That's all there is to it. There's no reason to make fun or poke at people for anything ever. So just be accepting of people for who they are, and try to how do I put this? Try to extend the olive branch, as you can say, in making them feel comfortable. You know what I mean? So if you know somebody in your life who perhaps is on the autism spectrum disorder, just try to include them as much as possible, guys. Inclusion is a huge, very important thing with children and adults on the autism spectrum, because as I said, the meaning of the word autism is alone, and I don't want anyone to ever feel alone. Nobody, ever. Especially my son. Especially my son. All right, guys, that's going to close out this autism awareness series. As I said, I will do other videos periodically throughout the rest of the year. They just won't be every single week as they have been this month. Thanks so much for taking the time to check this out, to listen and learn. I appreciate all of you guys so very much, and thank you so much to everybody who's reached out to me, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or through email, to either share your stories or just let me know that you understand, and let me know that you're here for me and that I can be there for you. It's been wonderful. This has been wonderful. Thank you, everybody, so much. That's all I got for you guys in this video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye! My name is Amber Meeks. Today is Let's Talk Tuesday, and on this video, I'm going to close out my series where I just let me think about it. Oh. Today is Let's Talk Tuesday, and on this video, I will be sharing more information, more facts. Try it again. This will be the last video that I'll be doing on autism for a little while. I wanted to show my support for the awareness Autism Awareness Month. And on this video, I'm going to be sharing some more facts about autism. As you guys know, autism is not autism. April. Why do I get too confused? No confusion. What the heck? Okay, guys. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and share some more facts about autism. Now, this I pulled from, I don't know where I pulled this from. I don't have it. Oop, it's irrelevant. Let's try it again. Okay, guys. So we're going to start by sharing 30 facts. Well, not we. I guess I'm doing this presentation. Whoop, start again. So, though the term autism first appeared around 1911, very little was known medically. I messed it up. So, new discoveries and advancements continue to be made to help. Okay, I messed it up again. Hold on a second. Autism spectrum disorder now affects 1 in 68 children. Boys are nearly 5 times more than girls. Why can't I read? It was good until then. All right, try it again.